I never expected that hiding from my ex would land me at a table with the city's most dangerous man, or that his protection would come with strings I wasn't prepared for. What would you do when the person who makes you feel most alive is the same one who could get you killed? The sound of my alarm clock makes me want to throw it across the room. I hit snooze instead and pull the covers over my head. 5 more minutes won't hurt. When it rings again, I give up and drag myself out of bed. My apartment is small, but it's mine. The kitchen light flickers as I turn it on. I need to call the landlord about that again. I pour cereal into a bowl and check my phone. No new messages, no surprises there. I look out my window while I eat. People rush by on the street below. Everyone seems to know where they're going. Everyone but me. Another day, another dollar, I say to my reflection as I brush my teeth. The dark circles under my eyes tell the story of too many late nights scrolling through dating apps. I haven't found anyone worth meeting since Marco left. The walk to work takes exactly 12 minutes. I know because I time it every day. The coffee shop where I work sits on the corner of Main and Elm. The red sign above the door reads, "Daily Grind." The name makes me smile a little. It fits my life too well. "Good morning, Lily," my boss calls as I tie my apron. "Can you take the morning rush?" I nod and get to work. For the next 4 hours, I make the same drinks over and over. Tall latte, small coffee, black. Iced caramel thing with extra whip. The faces blur together after a while. "Your usual, Mr. Peterson?" I ask as a gray-haired man approaches the counter. He comes in every day at exactly 10:15. "You know me too well," he says with a kind smile. That's the thing about my job. I know little bits about so many people, but no one really knows me. They see the girl who makes their coffee, not the person who cries watching sad movies or who writes poems she never shows anyone. During my break, I call my sister. "Still coming for dinner Friday?" she asks. "Wouldn't miss it," I say, even though part of me wants to cancel. Her perfect house and perfect husband make my tiny apartment and single life feel even smaller. As the afternoon drags on, I check the clock every few minutes. Time moves so slowly here. I think about the half-finished novel on my laptop at home. I haven't opened it in weeks. When my shift finally ends, I walk home the long way. The sun is starting to set, painting the sky pink and orange. For a moment, I stop and just look up. It's beautiful, but I have no one to share it with. My phone buzzes. A text from my friend Zoe. "Girls' night tomorrow? That new place downtown? Maybe a night out is what I need. Something to break the pattern." Little did I know, saying yes to that invitation would change everything. I fall asleep that night wondering, will my life always feel this empty? Will I ever find something, or someone, that makes my heart race again? The new restaurant downtown glows with fancy lights that remind me of the Christmas tree my mom used to put up. Zoe pulls me through the door, excited about the live music and fancy drinks. "You look amazing," she tells me, checking out my black dress. It's the only nice one I own, and I save it for special times. "There are so many cute guys here." I force a smile. "I'm not really looking to meet anyone tonight." The past 6 months since Marco left have taught me that rushing into another relationship is a bad idea. But I don't want to be a downer, so I follow Zoe to the bar. The place smells like fancy food and expensive perfume, way fancier than anywhere I usually go. The tables are close together, and the music is just loud enough that people have to lean in to hear each other talk. I watch couples laughing and sharing food, and feel a small pinch in my heart. "First round on me," Zoe says, ordering us both bright pink drinks that come with tiny umbrellas. The sweet, fruity taste hides how strong they are. I need to be careful, or I'll get tipsy too fast. We find a small table near the window and watch people come and go. Zoe points out guys she thinks are cute, but I'm only half listening. My mind keeps drifting back to the stack of bills on my kitchen counter. Being here feels like playing pretend in a life I can't really afford. Oh my God, Zoe suddenly whispers, grabbing my arm so hard it almost hurts. Don't look now, but Marco just walked in. My heart drops to my stomach. Of course he would be here. The universe loves these kinds of jokes. I sneak a peek over my shoulder and feel like someone punched me. There he is, looking better than he has any right to, with a tall blonde woman hanging on his arm. They're both laughing. He never laughed like that with me. Is that his new girlfriend? I ask, though I already know the answer. Zoe nods, looking like she wishes she hadn't said anything. I heard they met at his gym. She's some kind of yoga teacher. I try to act like I don't care, but my cheeks feel hot, and my hands are shaking a little. The restaurant suddenly feels too small. I can't be here, not with them just 20 feet away, looking so happy while I'm still picking up the pieces. They're coming this way, Zoe hisses. I think they're getting a table in this section. Panic hits me like a wave. I grab my purse and stand up. I need to go to the bathroom. I lie, already moving. But instead of heading to the restrooms, I dart across the restaurant, looking for somewhere, anywhere to hide. That's when I spot a man sitting alone at a table in the far corner. Without thinking, I rush over and drop into the empty chair across from him. I'm so sorry I'm late, I say loudly, as if I'm supposed to be meeting him. Traffic was awful. The man looks up and I almost lose my nerve. His eyes are so dark they're almost black, and they seem to see right through me. His face is all sharp angles, like it was carved from stone. He's wearing a suit that probably costs more than I make in a month, and his watch gleams under the restaurant lights. For 3 terrifying seconds he says nothing, just stares at me. I'm about to get up and run when his expression changes, just slightly. One eyebrow raises and the corner of his mouth twitches. I was beginning to think you weren't coming, he says, his voice deep and smooth like honey poured over gravel. I let out the breath I didn't know I was holding. Thank you, I whisper. My ex just walked in, and I panicked. I'll leave in a minute. The man glances over my shoulder, his eyes narrowing slightly. The one with the blonde? Looking this way? I nod, afraid to turn around. He seems concerned to see you here, the man says, a hint of amusement in his voice. Then he does something unexpected. He reaches across the table and takes my hand, his fingers warm against mine. Play along, he murmurs. The touch sends a strange shiver up my arm. Warning bells go off in my head, but I ignore them. Anything is better than facing Marco right now. Before I can respond, 3 men in dark suits approach our table. They stand with their hands clasped in front of them, waiting. The atmosphere changes instantly. The air feels thicker, charged with something I can't name. Mr. Rossi, one of them says, nodding respectfully. The shipment arrived at the dock. There was a situation. The man, Mr. Rossi, keeps holding my hand, his thumb now moving in small circles on my skin. It's distracting, making it hard to focus on what the men are saying. Something about numbers and packages and a problem that needs fixing tonight. Handle it, Rossi says simply, his voice suddenly cold and sharp like an icicle. I'm occupied at the moment. The men nod and move away quickly. I try to pull my hand back, suddenly unsure what I've gotten myself into. But Rossi holds on. Don't look now, he says quietly. But your ex is walking this way. My heart jumps into my throat. I feel trapped, caught between the man I used to love and this stranger who suddenly seems dangerous in ways I don't understand. Just 1 more minute of your time, Rossi says, and there's something in his tone that makes it clear it's not really a request. Then we both get what we want. Marco stops at our table, his eyes moving from me to Rossi and back again. I see the exact moment he recognizes who I'm sitting with. His face goes pale, and he takes a small step back. "Lily?" he says, his voice higher than normal. "I didn't expect to see you here." Rossi's arm slides around my shoulders, pulling me closer to him. "You know my date?" he asks Marco. His tone pleasant but with an edge that makes Marco fidget. "Date?" My mind races, but I manage to keep my face calm. I lean into Rossi's side, playing the part. "Old friends," I say, looking at Marco with what I hope is a confident smile. "Very old friends." Marco backs away, mumbling something about not wanting to interrupt. The fear in his eyes tells me everything I need to know about the man whose arm is around me. As Marco hurries back to his girlfriend, Rossi turns to me, his dark eyes serious. "It seems we may be useful to each other, Lily," he says, and the way he says my name makes me shiver again. I think this is the beginning of a very interesting arrangement. The cold night air hits my face as Rossi walks me out of the restaurant. His hand rests lightly on my back, guiding me toward a sleek black car waiting at the curb. The driver jumps out and opens the door without a word. I stop, my heart beating fast in my chest. "I should call an Uber," I say, taking a small step back. My phone feels heavy in my purse, like a lifeline to the normal world I'm about to leave behind. Rossi studies me for a moment. His face is calm, but his eyes miss nothing. "The Cortez family has been watching me for weeks," he says quietly. "Now they've seen you with me. That puts a target on your back." I wrap my arms around myself, suddenly cold despite the warm spring night. "I don't understand. Who are the Cortez family? Why would they care about me?" "They're rivals in my line of work." His voice is matter of fact, like he's talking about selling shoes instead of whatever it is that makes grown men pale at the sight of him. "And they care, because they think you matter to me." "But I don't," I say, the words coming out sharper than I meant them to. He almost smiles. "They don't know that." A taxi drives by, its yellow light like a beacon of escape. I could run, flag it down, go home, and pretend none of this ever happened. But something in his words grabs me, a target on my back. How real is that threat? "I can protect you," he continues when I don't speak, "but you need to help me too." The driver waits patiently by the open door. He doesn't look at us, but I can tell he's listening to every word. "What kind of help?" I ask, already knowing I shouldn't. "Nothing bad. Just be seen with me sometimes. Carry a message now and then. Small things that someone like you can do without drawing attention." Someone like me. So ordinary that I'm almost invisible. The thought stings more than it should. "And if I say no?" Rossi shrugs, his expensive suit shifting smoothly with the movement. "Then I wish you luck. The Cortez family isn't known for their mercy." My choices feel like they're shrinking by the second. Go with him and step into a world I know nothing about, or go home and wait for trouble to find me there. Neither option seems good. "Just a ride home," I finally say. "We can talk more tomorrow." Something that might be respect flickers in his eyes. He nods and gestures to the car. The leather seat is softer than anything I've ever sat on. The next morning, I jump at every sound. The ding of the coffee shop door. The clatter of dropped spoons. Even the hiss of the milk steamer makes me look up, half expecting to see men in dark suits coming for me. But the day passes normally. So does the next. I start to wonder if Rossi was just trying to scare me. Maybe there is no danger. Maybe I can just go back to my boring life and forget all about dark eyes and dangerous men. Then Wednesday comes, and with it, Rossi. He walks into the coffee shop at exactly 2:15, when the after-lunch rush has died down. He wears a gray suit today, with a blue tie that makes his eyes look less harsh. He orders a simple black coffee and sits at a table by the window. I bring him his drink with shaky hands. "I thought you'd forgotten about me," I say, trying to sound braver than I feel. "I never forget anything," he replies, his eyes scanning the street outside. Sit with me, just for a minute. I glance at my boss, who nods quickly. Apparently, even he knows not to say no to Rossi. There's a cafe on Maple Street, Rossi says once I've sat down. Cafe Luna. Go there Friday at noon. Order lunch, read a book, stay for an hour. Someone might sit with you. If they do, listen to what they say. That's it? I ask, not quite believing it could be so simple. That's it. He takes a sip of his coffee. For now. Friday comes too quickly. I wear a blue dress and bring a mystery novel I've already read twice. Cafe Luna is small and cozy, with only 10 tables and walls lined with local art. I order a sandwich and iced tea, then open my book. 30 minutes pass. No one approaches me. I start to relax a little, turning pages without really reading the words. Maybe no one will come. Maybe this was just a test to see if I'd do as I was told. Then the chair across from me scrapes against the floor. A woman with short red hair and bright lipstick sits down. She looks normal, like someone's mom or a teacher. Not at all what I expected. The gardens are lovely this time of year, she says, her voice pitched just loud enough for me to hear. The roses by the east gate especially. I blink at her, confused. Is this some kind of code? Am I supposed to answer? She sighs, looking annoyed. Just nod if you understand. I nod quickly. Good. She slides a small paper bag across the table. It looks like it might hold a muffin or cookies. Give this to Antonio when you see him next. Antonio. Rossi's first name. I've never called him that out loud. What's in it? I ask before I can stop myself. The woman's face hardens. Smart people don't ask questions like that. She leaves without another word, her half-empty coffee cup still on the table. I finish my sandwich slowly, the paper bag sitting by my purse like a live bomb. It feels light, almost empty. I fight the urge to peek inside. The next 3 weeks follow the same pattern. Rossi appears at random times, always with a new task. Go to this bookstore, wait at that bus stop, deliver this envelope. Each job is small, easy to explain away if anyone asks. I'm just running errands, just meeting a friend. I see his world from the edges, the way people move out of his path on the street. The whispered conversations that stop when he enters a room, the men who follow him everywhere, always watchful, always armed. One night he takes me to a restaurant he owns. The waiters bow their heads as we pass. The chef comes out specially to ask if we enjoyed the meal. I sit across from him, wearing a dress he bought me, eating food I could never afford, and I feel like I'm playing a part in a play I don't know the ending to. Why me? I ask as we drink wine that costs more than my rent. There must be people you trust more than some random girl who crashed your table. That's exactly why, he says, studying me over the rim of his glass. No one would suspect you. You're new, unknown. That makes you valuable. Is that all I am? Valuable? His eyes hold mine for a long moment. For now. I tell myself I'm just doing this to stay safe, that I'll find a way out once the danger passes. But deep down, a small voice whispers a truth I'm not ready to face. Part of me is fascinated by this new world. By him. At home that night, I stand in front of my bathroom mirror. The same face looks back at me. Brown eyes, straight nose, lips that could use some lip gloss. But I don't quite recognize myself anymore. The girl who poured coffee and lived a quiet life seems far away now. In her place is someone who carries secrets. Someone who walks the line between two worlds. I'm not sure which scares me more, the danger I'm in, or how alive it makes me feel. 2 months into my strange arrangement with Rossi, and I've stopped jumping at shadows. The fear is still there, a quiet hum under my skin, but it's mixed with something else now. Something that makes me check my reflection before he picks me up. Something that makes me smile when his name appears on my phone. Today he's taking me to a small Italian place tucked away on a side street. It's not fancy like the other restaurants we've been to. The tables are covered with red and white checkered cloths. The walls are lined with pictures of Italy and families with big smiles. My father used to bring me here, Rossi says as we sit down. It's the first personal thing he's ever shared with me. Is he? I let the question hang in the air. Dead? Yes. For 12 years now. His voice is flat, giving nothing away. The waiter brings us bread and olive oil without being asked. He calls Rossi Mr. Antonio and doesn't write down our order. It's clear they know each other well. You look different, Rossi says after the waiter leaves. I touch my hair self-consciously. I'd cut it shorter last week, just to my shoulders. Is different good or bad? Good, he says, and for a second I think I see warmth in those dark eyes. More confident. He's right. I am more confident. The jobs he's given me have gotten bigger over time. Last week, I delivered a package to a man who owns half the nightclubs downtown. The week before, I sat in on a meeting with a city official, pretending to be Rossi's assistant, memorizing who said what, and reporting back to him later. I've gotten good at noticing things. The way his men stand when they're nervous. The slight touch they give their jackets when they're armed. The looks they exchange when they think no one is watching. Why did you bring me here? I ask, breaking a piece of bread. It doesn't seem like your usual kind of place. He takes a sip of water, watching me over the rim of his glass. Maybe I wanted you to see something different. Something real. Before I can ask what he means by that, his phone buzzes. His face changes as he reads the message, hardening into the mask I've come to recognize as trouble. We need to go, he says, already standing. He throws cash on the table, way more than our meal would have cost. Outside, his driver is waiting with the car door open. Rossi puts his hand on my lower back, guiding me in quickly. The tires screech as we pull away from the curb. What's wrong? I ask, my heart suddenly racing. My nephew is in the hospital, he says, his voice tight. Car accident. I've never heard of a nephew before. Another piece of his life I know nothing about. We ride in silence, the city blurring past the windows. At the hospital, nurses and doctors straighten up as Rossi walks by, their eyes down. They know who he is. Everyone does. In a private room at the end of a quiet hallway, a boy of about 16 lies in bed. His face is bruised, one arm in a cast. Beside him sits a woman who must be his mother, her eyes red from crying. Antonio, she says, standing up. Thank God you're here. I hang back by the door, feeling like I'm intruding on something private. But Rossi reaches back without looking and takes my hand, pulling me forward. Sophia, this is Lily, he says. Lily, my sister Sophia and my nephew Marco. I try not to react to the name Marco. Different Marco, different life. Sophia looks me up and down, curious but not unfriendly. You're the cafe girl, she says. Tony's men talk about you. I don't know what to say to that. What do they say? That I'm his errand girl? His fake date? Something more? Rossi sits on the edge of the bed, speaking softly to his nephew. I've never seen him like this before. Gentle, concerned. The boy looks at his uncle with clear hero worship in his eyes. The other driver was drunk, Sophia tells me quietly. Hit them head on. Marco's friend didn't make it. I feel a lump form in my throat. I'm so sorry. She nods, tears filling her eyes again. Life can change in a second, can it? 1 minute you're whole, and the next... I know what she means. 1 minute I was hiding from my ex, and the next I was in a world where men carry guns and speak in code, where danger feels as normal as breathing. We stay for hours. Rossi talks to doctors, makes phone calls, arranges for a specialist to see Marco in the morning. I sit with Sophia, listening to stories about when Rossi was young, how he took care of her after their parents died, how he put her through college, how he's always protected the family, no matter what. It's past midnight when we finally leave. Rain falls in heavy sheets, drumming on the roof of the car. Rossi is quiet, lost in thought. Without thinking, I reach over and take his hand. His fingers close around mine, warm and strong. "Thank you for coming with me," he says, his voice low. "Of course." I pause, then add, "I didn't know you had a sister." He turns to look at me, his face half in shadow. "There's a lot you don't know about me, Lily." "I'd like to," I say, surprising myself with my honesty. We drive through the empty streets, rain washing the world clean. He doesn't let go of my hand. 3 days later, he asks me to go with him to a museum. Not for a job. Not to meet someone. Just because. I say yes without hesitating. The art museum is quiet on a Tuesday afternoon. We walk through rooms filled with paintings and sculptures, our footsteps echoing on the marble floors. I've never been much of an art person, but Rossi knows things. He tells me stories about the artists, about the hidden meanings in their work. "This one," he says, stopping in front of a painting of a woman reading by a window. "The light is what makes it special. See how it falls across her face? That's hope in the darkness." I look at him, not the painting. "I wouldn't have expected you to like art so much." A small smile touches his lips. "Beauty matters when you've seen enough ugliness." Later, we sit in the museum cafe, drinking coffee. Through the window, I can see gray clouds gathering, more rain coming. "Why did you really bring me here?" I ask. He sets down his cup. "Maybe I wanted to see if we could be normal, just for a day." "And? Can we?" "I don't know," he says honestly. "My world doesn't allow for much normal." I think about the gun I know he carries under his jacket, about the men who follow us at a distance, watching for danger, about the things I've heard whispered when people think I'm not listening. "I should be scared of you," I say quietly. "You should," he agrees. But I'm not. Not anymore. Instead, I find myself looking forward to his calls, wondering what he's doing when we're apart, watching his hands when he talks and imagining them on my skin. It starts to rain as we leave the museum, fat drops that turn quickly to a downpour. We run for the car, but a crack of thunder directly overhead makes me jump and shriek. Rossi laughs, a real laugh, deep and rich, and pulls me under the shelter of a nearby church doorway. Water drips from my hair, down my face. He reaches up and brushes it away with his thumb, his touch gentle. Time seems to slow down. I can hear my heart beating in my ears, louder than the rain. "Lily," he says, my name like a question on his lips. Before I can answer, the stained glass window above us shatters. The sound of gunshots cuts through the rain. Rossi pushes me down, covering my body with his. I feel the solid weight of him, smell his cologne mixed with rain. More glass falls around us like deadly diamonds. His men appear from nowhere, guns drawn, shouting into radios. Rossi pulls me to my feet and drags me toward the car, his arm tight around my waist. "Are you hurt?" he demands once we're inside, the doors locked. His hands move over my arms, my face, checking for injuries. "No," I gasp, still in shock. "You?" "I'm fine." His eyes are darker than I have ever seen them, filled with a cold fury that makes me shiver. This is why normal isn't possible for me, for us. Us. The word hangs between us, heavy with meaning. "Who was shooting at us?" I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. "Not at us," he says grimly. "At me." I should be terrified. I should tell him to take me home and never call me again. I should run as far from this dangerous man as I can. Instead, I find myself reaching for his hand again. I'm not going anywhere, I tell him. Something shifts in his eyes. Something that looks almost like hope. The shooting changes everything. Rossi assigns 2 men to watch me around the clock. They park outside my apartment in a black SUV, follow me to work, and sit at corner tables during my shifts. My boss doesn't ask questions. Neither do my coworkers, but I see the way they look at me now. Like I'm someone different. Someone dangerous. Zoe shows up at my apartment on a rainy Tuesday night, pounding on my door until I open it. Her face is tight with worry, her eyes wide. "What are you doing?" she demands, pushing past me into my living room. "Everyone's talking about you and Antonio Rossi. Do you have any idea who he is?" I close the door, feeling tired. I haven't been sleeping well since the shooting. "It's complicated." "It's not complicated, he's a criminal, Lily." She pulls out her phone, opens a news app, and shoves it in my face. The headline reads, "Business owner with alleged mob ties questioned in downtown shooting." They don't have any proof, I say, but the words sound hollow even to me. Zoe stares at me like I've grown a second head. "You're defending him? The Rossi family has been running half the city's illegal businesses for decades. Drugs, gambling, who knows what else." I want to tell her she's wrong, that there's more to him than that. I want to tell her about how gentle he was with his nephew, how he knows everything about Renaissance art, how he holds my hand when we're alone. But the words stick in my throat. "I know what I'm doing," I say instead. "No, you don't." Zoe's voice gets softer, scared. "This isn't a movie, Lily. People who get involved with men like Rossi end up hurt. Or worse." After she leaves, I stand by the window, looking down at the men in the SUV. "They're there to protect me," Rossi said. "But are they also making sure I don't run? Making sure I don't talk to the wrong people?" My phone buzzes with a text from my sister. "Need to talk to you ASAP. Call me." I don't call. I know what she'll say. The same things Zoe said. The same fears I push down every day. 2 days later, Rossi takes me to dinner at a restaurant by the river. We sit at a corner table, away from windows. His men are at nearby tables, watching. Always watching. "Your friends don't approve of me," he says, cutting his steak into perfect little squares. I almost choke on my water. "How did you know that?" He gives me a look that says I should know better than to ask. Of course he knows. He probably knows everything Zoe said to me. Maybe he even has my apartment bugged. "They're worried about you," he continues. "That's natural." "And should they be?" I ask, setting down my fork. "Worried about me?" Rossi takes a sip of his wine, thinking. "Being close to me comes with risks. I won't lie about that. Is it true? What they say about your family? About what you do?" His eyes meet mine across the table. Some of it. Not all. It's the most honest answer he's ever given me. I should be running for the door. Instead, I find myself nodding, accepting. "There's a charity event next week," he says, changing the subject. "I'd like you to come with me." It's not really a question. With Rossi, few things are. The charity event is held at the city's most expensive hotel. The ballroom sparkles with crystal chandeliers and the jewelry of the rich and powerful. I wear a dark green dress Rossi sent to my apartment, along with matching shoes and a small diamond necklace. When I put it on, my hands shook. No one had ever given me anything so expensive before. Rossi introduces me to mayors and business owners and judges. I smile and shake hands and try to remember names. Some people look surprised to see me with him. Others look worried. One woman in a red dress pulls me aside when Rossi steps away. "Be careful, dear," she whispers, her breath smelling of expensive champagne. That man leaves a trail of broken things behind him. Before I can ask what she means, Rossi's second in command, a tall man named Victor, appears at my side. "Mr. Rossi is looking for you," he says, taking my arm firmly. He leads me to a quiet hallway away from the party. Rossi stands with 3 men I don't recognize, their conversation stopping as I approach. "Everything okay?" I ask, suddenly nervous. "Fine," Rossi says, but I can see tension in the way he holds himself. "These gentlemen were just leaving." The men nod at me as they pass. One of them smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. I've learned to spot the difference. "Who were they?" I ask when they're gone. "Business associates?" Rossi straightens his tie, a small tell that he's annoyed. "Nothing for you to worry about." But that night, as we leave the hotel, I notice more security than usual. 4 cars instead of 2. Men with earpieces scanning the streets. "Something's wrong," I say as Rossi helps me into the back seat of his car. "Tell me." He sighs, then nods to the driver to close the partition between the front and back seats. "The Cortez family is making moves against me. Those men tonight were warning me to back off from the West Side shipping contracts. Or what? Or they'll push back harder." He takes my hand, his thumb moving in circles over my skin. "I need you to be extra careful for the next few weeks. Don't go anywhere alone. If you see anything strange, call me immediately." I think about all the times I've delivered messages and packages for him, all the people I've met, all the things I might have been part of without knowing. "Am I in danger?" I ask. He looks out the window at the passing city lights. "Everyone in my life is in danger, Lily. That's the price of being close to me." The next morning, my sister shows up at the coffee shop. She waits until my break, then drags me outside, away from Rossi's men who watch from their usual table. "What the hell are you doing?" she hisses, her face red with anger. "Do you know the police came to my house yesterday? Asking questions about you and Rossi?" My blood runs cold. "What? Why?" "Because they're building a case against him, racketeering, money laundering, who knows what else. And now you're involved." "I'm not involved," I say automatically, but the lie tastes bitter on my tongue. What would the police say if they knew about all the packages I'd delivered, all the messages I'd carried? "Look at yourself," my sister says, her voice breaking. "Designer clothes, diamond necklaces, men following you everywhere. You're in so deep you can't even see it anymore." I touch the necklace hidden under my shirt, feeling the small diamond against my skin. When did this become normal? When did I stop questioning? "I called a lawyer," she continues. "He said if you go to the police now, before things get worse, they might be able to help you. Give you immunity or something." "Immunity?" The word comes out as a whisper. "For what?" "For whatever you've been doing for him." She grabs my shoulders, shaking me slightly. "This is your chance to get out before it's too late." I look over at Rossi's men, who are watching us closely now. I wave to let them know everything is fine. The gesture feels automatic, like I've been doing it forever. "I can't just leave," I say, the truth of it hitting me hard. "It's not that simple." "Because you're afraid of him?" my sister asks, her eyes searching mine. I shake my head slowly. "Because I'm falling in love with him." The words hang in the air between us, finally spoken aloud after weeks of living in my heart. My sister steps back like I've slapped her. "Then God help you," she says, "because no one else can." That night, I sit on my couch, staring at the business card my sister pressed into my hand before leaving. "Detective James Morrison, Major Crimes Unit." "A way out," she said. "A chance to start over." My phone lights up with a text from Rossi. "Dinner tomorrow? I miss you." 3 simple words that make my heart beat faster. I miss you. Not an order, not an arrangement, just a truth. I look out my window at the men in the black SUV, then back at the detective's card. The life I had before seems far away now, like someone else's story. The girl who poured coffee and worried about bills and cried over her ex seems like a stranger to me. In her place is someone new, someone caught between worlds, between loyalties, someone who needs to make a choice. I close my eyes, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. When did protection become a prison? When did fascination become something deeper, something that scares me more than any threat? The detective's card feels heavy in my hand. A lifeline or a betrayal, depending on which side you're standing. The detective's card burns a hole in my pocket for 3 days. I carry it with me everywhere. Taking it out when I'm alone, running my finger over the raised letters. Detective James Morrison. A name that could change everything. I don't call him. Not yet. But I don't throw the card away either. Rossi notices the change in me. Of course he does. He notices everything. "You're quiet tonight," he says as we sit in his car outside my apartment building. Rain taps on the roof, creating a cozy bubble around us. "What's on your mind?" I look at his face, at the eyes that see too much, at the mouth that rarely smiles, but when it does, it's like the sun coming out. I think about all the things I don't know about him. All the whispers and warnings, all the fear in people's eyes when he walks into a room. "My sister thinks I should stay away from you," I say finally. He nods slowly. "And what do you think?" I pause, searching for the right words. I think I'm in too deep to see clearly anymore. Something flickers across his face, too quick to read. He reaches across the seat and takes my hand, his touch warm and familiar now. "Ask me," he says quietly. "Whatever you want to know. Ask me now, and I'll tell you the truth." My heart beats faster. This is a gift he's offering, one I never expected. The chance to know. "The things people say about you," I begin, my voice barely above a whisper. "About your family. About what you do. Are they true?" He looks out at the rain for a long moment. I wonder if he regrets his offer already. "Some of it," he says finally. "Yes. The illegal businesses, the threats, the violence." His fingers tighten slightly around mine. "Yes." I swallow hard, forcing myself to ask the question that scares me most. "Have you ever killed someone?" His eyes come back to mine, dark and unreadable. "Yes." The single word hangs between us like a wall I can't see past. I pull my hand away, wrapping my arms around myself. "I should go," I whisper. He doesn't try to stop me as I open the door and step out into the rain. He doesn't call after me as I run to my building. He just watches, his face half in shadow, as I disappear inside. I don't sleep that night. I pace my small apartment thinking about everything. The strange path that led me from hiding from Marco to sitting across from a man who admits to murder. The way my heart still races when Rossi looks at me. Even now. Even knowing what I know. Around dawn, I finally fall into a restless sleep on my couch. When I wake up, the sun is high and my phone shows 3 missed calls from work. I've slept through my morning shift. I call and make up an excuse about being sick. My boss doesn't sound like he believes me, but he doesn't push. For the next week, I go through the motions of my old life. I work my shifts. I clean my apartment. I watch TV shows I don't really see. Rossi doesn't call or text. His men still watch my building, but they keep their distance. Giving me space, maybe. Or just making sure I don't run to the police. The detective's card sits on my kitchen counter now. I look at it every time I pass, thinking about picking up the phone, thinking about what I would say, what I would be willing to tell. Then, on the 8th day, there's a knock at my door. I open it to find Sophia, Rossi's sister, standing in the hallway. She looks tired, dark circles under her eyes. "May I come in?" she asks. I step back, letting her enter. She walks around my small living room, looking at the few pictures I have on the walls. A photo of me with my sister at the beach, one of my parents from years ago. "Antonio hasn't been sleeping," she says, without preamble. "He hasn't been eating much either." I don't know what to say to that, so I say nothing. "My brother is not a good man," she continues, turning to face me. "Not in the way most people would define good. He's done terrible things, things he can never take back." She sits on my couch, smoothing her skirt over her knees. "But he's good to the people he loves. He protects his family. He keeps his word. He tries to be fair, in his own way." "Why are you telling me this?" I ask, sitting down across from her. "Because you need to understand who he is. All of who he is. Not just the parts that scare you." I think about Rossi with his nephew in the hospital, about the way he talks about art, about how gentle his hands can be. "I can't pretend I don't know what he does," I say. Sophia leans forward. "No one's asking you to pretend, but you need to decide if you can accept it. All of it, because halfway doesn't work in our world." After she leaves, I stand at my window, looking down at the street. The black SUV is still there. Rossi's men, watching. Always watching. I wonder if he's in the car, waiting to see if I'll run or stay. I pick up the detective's card from the counter, looking at it one more time. Then I tear it into tiny pieces and flush them down the toilet. That night, I text Rossi, "Can we talk?" His reply comes instantly, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. When he knocks, my hands are shaking so badly I can barely open the door. He stands in the hallway, his face carefully blank. He's lost weight, I notice. Sophia was right. "Come in," I say, stepping back. He enters slowly like he's not sure of his welcome. He doesn't sit, just stands in the middle of my living room, watching me. "I've been thinking," I start, my voice steadier than I expected. "About who you are. About what you do." "And?" His voice gives nothing away. "And I don't know if I can do this?" The words hurt coming out. I don't know if I can be with someone who hurts people, who breaks the law, who lives in a world so different from mine. He nods once, his face still unreadable. I understand, but he doesn't move to leave. He just stands there, looking at me with those dark eyes that see too much. "Is that all?" I ask when the silence stretches between us. "No." He takes a step closer. "I need you to understand something. I can't change who I am. I can't undo the things I've done. This is my life, my world. It's the only one I know." "I know that," I whisper. "But..." He takes another step. "You make me want to be better. You make me want things I never thought I could have." My heart beats faster. "What things?" "Peace," he says simply. "Quiet moments. A normal life, even if it's just for a few hours. With you." He's close enough now that I can smell his cologne, feel the warmth of him. I want to reach out and touch him, but I hold back. "I'm afraid," I admit. "Not of you. Of feeling this way about someone who lives the way you do, of what it says about me that I still want to be with you, knowing what I know." "You don't belong in my world," he says, his voice low. "You never did. That's why you matter to me. You see me differently. You make me see myself differently." I think about all the warnings, all the fear in people's eyes. I think about the detective's card, now gone. I think about the choice I'm making, standing here with him. "I can't promise you safety," he says. "I can't promise you a normal life, but I can promise you truth. No more secrets between us. No more secrets." The offer hangs in the air, tempting and terrifying. If I say yes, There's no going back. No pretending I don't know. No hiding from what he is, what he does. I need time, I say finally. Time to think, to be sure. He nods again, accepting. He starts to turn toward the door, but I reach out and catch his hand. But I want you to know, I say, my voice trembling slightly, that I miss you too. A small smile touches his lips, the first I've seen in days. He lifts my hand to his mouth and kisses it gently, his eyes never leaving mine. Take all the time you need, he says. I'll be waiting. After he leaves, I sit alone in my apartment, feeling the ghost of his lips on my skin. Outside, the city goes on as always, lights blinking in the darkness. Two worlds, side by side. One safe and predictable. One dangerous and unknown. And me, caught in between. No longer sure where I belong. Time moves strangely when you're trying to make a life-changing choice. Days blur together. I work my shifts, go home, think about Rossi, sleep, and repeat. For 2 weeks, we keep our distance. He texts me every night just to check that I'm okay. Nothing more, nothing pushy. Just making sure I'm safe. His men still watch my building, but they stay in their cars, respectful shadows. I find myself looking for them when I leave for work. A strange comfort in their presence. I don't tell anyone about my feelings, about my confusion. Not Zoe, not my sister. They wouldn't understand. How could they, when I barely understand myself? Then, on a rainy Tuesday, everything changes. I'm wiping down tables after the morning rush when Detective Morrison walks into the coffee shop. I recognize him immediately from the card, though I've never met him before. Tall, with gray at his temples and tired eyes that have seen too much. He orders a black coffee and sits at a corner table watching me. My hands shake as I bring him his drink. "You're Detective Morrison," I say, setting down the cup. He nods, not surprised that I know. "And you're Lily Chen. We need to talk." "About what?" I ask, though I know. Of course I know. "About Antonio Rossi." He gestures to the chair across from him. "And about keeping you out of prison." I sit down slowly, my legs suddenly weak. I haven't done anything wrong. The detective's smile is sad. We both know that's not true. Carrying messages, delivering packages, being present at meetings with known criminals, aiding and abetting at the very least. My heart pounds in my ears. How does he know all this? Who's been watching me? "I don't know what was in those packages," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. "Doesn't matter in the eyes of the law." He leans forward. "But I'm not here to arrest you, Lily. I'm here to offer you a way out." "What kind of way out?" He takes a sip of his coffee before answering. "We're building a case against Rossi. A big one. Racketeering. Money laundering. Maybe even murder if we can prove it. But we need someone on the inside. Someone he trusts." The meaning of his words hits me like a physical blow. "You want me to spy on him?" "I want you to save yourself," Morrison counters. "And maybe save him too, in a way. Prison is better than a bullet, which is where he's headed if he keeps going the way he is." I think about Rossi's promise of truth. No more secrets between us. And here I am, being asked to keep the biggest secret of all. "I can't," I say, standing up. "I won't do that to him." Morrison doesn't look surprised. "Think about it. You have until Friday. After that, all deals are off the table." He leaves his coffee untouched, placing his card on the table beside it. A second chance at escape. A second test of my loyalty. I throw the card away as soon as he's gone. That night, I call Rossi. "Can you come over?" I ask when he answers. "We need to talk." He arrives 30 minutes later, rain dripping from his coat. He looks tired, I notice, worn around the edges in a way I've never seen before. Detective Morrison came to see me today, I say without preamble. Rossi goes very still. What did he want? He wanted me to spy on you, to help them build their case. I watch his face carefully as I speak. He says they're close to arresting you, racketeering, money laundering, maybe murder. Rossi runs a hand through his wet hair, thinking. Did you agree? No. The word comes out stronger than I expected. I would never do that to you. Something flickers in his eyes. Relief, maybe. Or surprise. Why not? It would solve all your problems. Keep you out of trouble. Let you go back to your normal life. I take a deep breath. Because that's not the life I want anymore. He steps closer, searching my face. What are you saying, Lily? I'm saying I choose you. The words feel right as they leave my mouth, true in a way few things have ever been. I'm saying I know who you are, what you do, and I'm still here. I'm not running away. For a long moment he just looks at me, his dark eyes unreadable. Then slowly, carefully, he reaches out and touches my face, his fingers warm against my cheek. You have no idea what you're getting into, he says softly. I smile, covering his hand with mine. Maybe not. But I'm ready to find out. The kiss that follows feels like coming home and stepping off a cliff at the same time. His arms around me, solid and real. My heart beating so hard I think it might break my ribs. When we finally pull apart, we're both breathing hard. We need to leave town for a while, he says, his forehead resting against mine. If Morrison came to you, they're getting desperate. It's not safe here. Where would we go? I have a house upstate. We can stay there until my lawyer figures out how bad things are. I think about my job, my apartment, my few possessions. None of it seems important anymore. When do we leave? Tonight, he says. Pack light. Just the essentials. It takes me less than 30 minutes to pack a small suitcase. Clothes, toiletries, a photo of my family, my laptop. The building blocks of a life, surprisingly few when it comes down to it. Rossi waits in the living room, talking quietly on his phone. Making arrangements, I guess. Planning our escape. Ready? He asks when I come out with my suitcase. I look around my apartment one last time. The place where I've lived for 4 years. The safe, predictable space that was my anchor for so long. It already feels like it belongs to someone else. Ready, I say, and I mean it. We're halfway to the door when it bursts open. 4 men in suits rush in, guns drawn. Not Rossi's men, someone else's. Antonio Rossi, one of them says, his voice cold. Vincenzo Cortez wants a word. Rossi pushes me behind him, his body a shield between me and the intruders. I feel him tense, ready to fight. But he's outnumbered, and they have guns pointed at us. Fine, he says, his voice calm despite the danger. But the girl stays here. She has nothing to do with this. The man laughs, an ugly sound. That's not what I heard. I heard she's been carrying messages for you for months. I heard she knows things. Valuable things. My blood runs cold. They know about me, about what I've been doing for Rossi. She knows nothing, Rossi insists. Let her go. Can't do that. The man gestures with his gun. Both of you, move, now. They take us downstairs to a waiting car, shoving us into the back seat. Rossi's face is like stone, but his hand finds mine in the darkness, squeezing tight. A promise. A connection. I'm sorry, he whispers as the car pulls away from the curb. This is my fault. I hold his hand tighter. No. This is my choice. Remember? I chose you. The car takes us to an old warehouse by the river. Inside, it's cold and damp, smelling of rust and river water. They march us to a small office in the back, where a man sits behind a desk, smoking a cigar. Vincenzo Cortez is older than I expected, with silver hair and a face lined by years of hard living. His eyes are cold as he looks us over. "The great Antonio Rossi," he says, his voice rough from smoking. "And his little coffee shop girlfriend. How sweet." Rossi stands tall, his face giving nothing away. "What do you want, Vincenzo?" "What's rightfully mine?" Cortez blows smoke toward us. The west side contracts, the dock access, the shipping routes, all of it. "We had a deal," Rossi says. "Your territory, my territory. Clear lines." Cortez laughs. "Deals change, just like loyalties." He looks at me. "Isn't that right, Miss Chen?" A chill runs down my spine. How does he know my name? Rossi steps forward, putting himself between me and Cortez again. "This is between you and me. Leave her out of it." "Too late for that," Cortez says, standing up. "You brought her in when you started using her as your messenger, and now she's going to be the message." He nods to one of his men, who moves toward me with a knife. Rossi lunges at him, but another man hits him from behind, sending him to his knees. "No!" I scream, trying to reach him. The room erupts into chaos. Rossi fights back, taking down one man despite the blow to his head. I grab a heavy paperweight from Cortez's desk and swing it at the man with the knife. It connects with his arm, making him howl in pain. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Rossi's men pour in, guns drawn. Victor, his second in command, leads the charge. Shots are fired, people are shouting. In the confusion, Rossi grabs me and pulls me under the desk. "Stay down," he orders, his voice hard. "Don't move until I come for you." Then he's gone, back into the fight. I curl up, making myself as small as possible, hands over my ears to block out the gunfire. I count my heartbeats to stay calm. 1, 2, 3, 4. On beat 27, the shooting stops. The sudden silence is almost as terrifying as the noise. I hold my breath, waiting. "Lily?" Rossi's voice, calling my name. "It's over. You can come out now." I crawl out from under the desk. The office is a mess. Papers and broken glass everywhere. Cortez is on the floor, blood spreading across his expensive suit. His men are either down or gone. Rossi stands in the middle of it all, a cut on his cheek, but otherwise unhurt. When he sees me, relief washes over his face. "Are you okay?" he asks, crossing to me in 3 long strides. I nod, though I'm shaking from head to toe. "You came back for me. You could have run, but you came back." He pulls me against him, holding me tight. "I will always come back for you," he says fiercely. "Always." In that moment, with the smell of gunpowder in the air and my heart still racing with fear and adrenaline, I know I've made my choice. For better or worse, in danger or in safety, I choose him. All of him. The good and the bad, the gentle and the brutal. All of it. "Let's go home," I say, looking up at him. His smile is small, but real. Yes, home. Sunlight streams through the windows of our brownstone, catching the dust motes that dance in the air. I've been awake for 20 minutes, watching Rossi sleep beside me. In sleep, his face relaxes, the hard lines softening until he looks almost like any other man. Almost. A year has passed since the night at the warehouse. A year of changes, of adjustments, of finding a new normal in a life I never imagined for myself. The first few months were the hardest. After Cortez's death, the police doubled their efforts to build a case against Rossi. Detective Morrison came to see me again, his eyes hard with disappointment when I refused to help him. "You're making a mistake," he told me, "a mistake that will cost you everything." Maybe he was right. I lost things. My sister hasn't spoken to me in months. Zoe stopped calling after the 3rd time I canceled plans. My old boss at the coffee shop asked me not to come back. too nervous about the men who always followed me, the whispers that trailed in my wake. But I gained things too. I slide out of bed carefully, trying not to wake Rossi. He needs the sleep. Last night was a late one, filled with hushed phone calls and worried faces. Business? He'd said when I asked. Just business. I've learned not to ask too many questions about certain aspects of his life. It's better that way. For both of us, the kitchen is my favorite room in our house. Bright and open, with a big island in the middle where I drink my morning coffee and work on my novel. Yes, I'm writing again. The story pours out of me these days, a tale of worlds colliding and choices made in darkness. I'm pouring my second cup when I hear Rossi's footsteps on the stairs. He comes up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist and pressing a kiss to the side of my neck. "Morning," he murmurs, his voice still rough with sleep. I lean back against him, savoring the solid warmth of him. "Good morning. Sleep well? Better with you there." He reaches around me for a coffee mug. "What's the plan for today?" It's become our morning ritual, this checking in. A small attempt at normalcy in lives that are anything but normal. "The cafe opens at 10, I say. I need to be there to sign for a delivery. The cafe is my new project. A small place on a quiet corner, not far from where I used to work. Rossi bought the building for me 6 months ago, as a surprise. A place of my own, he'd said. Something honest. We both know where the money came from to buy it. Neither of us talks about that. Another line we've drawn, another compromise in a relationship built on them. "I'll have Victor drive you," Rossi says, sipping his coffee. "I have meetings all morning." I turn to face him, studying his face. The cut on his cheek from that night at the warehouse left a small scar, a thin white line that I trace with my fingers sometimes when he's sleeping. A reminder of what might have been lost. "Important meetings?" I ask, careful to keep my tone casual. He knows what I'm really asking. Are they dangerous? Should I be worried? "Just business," he says, the same answer as always. But he adds, "Nothing to worry about. Legitimate business. The new import company." This is new, this extra information. Part of his promise to move more operations into legal territory. A promise he made to me, though we both know it's not that simple, not that clean. "Good," I say, and mean it. After breakfast, Victor drives me to the cafe in one of Rossi's less flashy cars. The delivery arrives right on time, coffee beans from a supplier Rossi connected me with. I don't ask too many questions about this either, but the beans are good and the price is fair. Another compromise. My small staff arrives at 9:30, 3 college students and a retired teacher who wanted something to fill her days. They know who my boyfriend is, of course. Everyone does. But they're good people who need jobs, and they don't ask questions either. The morning passes in a blur of customers and coffee and small talk. This is the part of my life that feels most normal, most like the person I used to be. The cafe is doing well, building a loyal following in the neighborhood. A success story, at least on the surface. Around noon, the bell above the door chimes. I look up, expecting another customer, and freeze. My sister stands there, looking uncertain and a little nervous. "Hey," she says, approaching the counter slowly. "Nice place." It's the first time she's been here. The first time we've spoken face to face in months. "Thanks," I manage, my voice catching slightly. "What can I get you?" "Just a coffee. Black." She glances around, noting the 2 men sitting near the window. Rossi's men, always watching, always there. "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" I nod to Emma, the college student working the register, and lead my sister to a small table in the back corner. We sit across from each other, the distance between us more than just physical. "You look good," my sister says after a moment. "Healthy." "I am good," I reply. Really good, actually. She doesn't believe me. I can see it in her eyes. Mom and Dad ask about you. They worry. A pang of guilt hits me. I haven't seen my parents in months either. Another cost of the choices I've made. Tell them I'm fine. Happy, even. Are you? She asks, leaning forward. Really happy? Living with him, knowing what he is, what he does? I think about this morning, about Rossi's arms around me in our sunny kitchen, about the cafe he bought for me, the novel I'm finally writing, the small world we've carved out together. Yes, I say simply. I am. My sister searches my face looking for the lie. When she doesn't find it, she sits back, something like acceptance in her eyes. I miss you, she says quietly. Tears prick at the corners of my eyes. I miss you too. It's not perfect, this brief reconnection, but it's a start. A small crack in the wall between my old life and my new one. That evening, Rossi and I have dinner at home. He cooks. Something he enjoys but rarely has time for. Simple pasta with a sauce his mother taught him to make. He tells me as he stirs the pot. Another glimpse into his past, freely given. My sister came to the cafe today, I say as we eat. Rossi looks up, surprised. How did that go? Better than I expected. She still doesn't approve of this, of us. But she misses me. He reaches across the table, taking my hand. Family is important. If you want to see more of her, of your parents, we can make that happen. Safely. It's a generous offer, especially coming from him. Family is everything in his world, but he knows it matters in mine too. Another adjustment, another sign that he's trying, in his own way, to give me as normal a life as possible. Thank you, I say, squeezing his hand. Later, as we sit on the couch together, his arm around me while we watch a movie, I think about the strange path that led me here. From a coffee shop girl hiding from her ex, to the woman who shares a home, a bed, a life with Antonio Rossi. It's not the life I planned. Not the life anyone would have chosen for me. But it's mine. With all its dangers and complications, its compromises and contradictions, it's the life I chose. Eyes open, knowing exactly who he is, who I've become by loving him. There are still days when I wonder what might have been. If I had run from that restaurant table instead of sitting down. If I had called Detective Morrison instead of tearing up his card. If I had chosen safety instead of Rossi. But then he looks at me the way he's looking at me now, like I'm the only light in a very dark world, and I know I would make the same choice again. Every time. What are you thinking about? He asks, noticing my far-off gaze. The night we met, I say honestly. How everything changed because I was trying to hide from Marco. A small smile touches his lips. Best mistake anyone ever made. Sitting at my table. I laugh, curling closer to him. Was it a mistake, though? Or was it fate? I don't believe in fate, he says, his fingers tracing patterns on my arm. I believe in choices and consequences. So do I now. I've learned that lesson well over the past year. Outside, the city grows darker as night falls. Somewhere out there, Rossi's men are keeping watch. Somewhere, other families like the Cortez are making plans, forming alliances, breaking them. The world he comes from, the world that now touches mine, continues its dangerous dance. But here, in this house, in this moment, there is peace. A fragile peace, perhaps. One that could shatter with a single phone call, a single mistake. But real, nonetheless. I love you, I say. The word simple and true. Rossi pulls me closer, pressing a kiss to the top of my head. And I love you, more than I ever thought possible. This is our new equilibrium. Not perfect, not entirely safe, but ours. built on truth and choice and compromise, on seeing each other fully, darkness and light, and choosing to stay anyway. I once thought love was simple, straightforward. Now I know better. Love is complex and messy and sometimes dangerous. It changes you, reshapes you, makes you into someone new. The girl who hid from her ex at a stranger's table is gone. In her place is a woman who faced danger and made her choice with open eyes, who found a kind of freedom in the arms of a dangerous man, who carved out a life in the spaces between two worlds. Not the love story I expected, but maybe the one I needed all along.